So before we get started, I'm just going to do some brief introductions. I'm Deborah Brown. I'm the Director for Youth Transition Services for Humanim. And I also have my manager for the Baltimore County region, Tasha Williams, on the call as well. So she's going to assist me with, any questions or explanation regarding our services. So let me start out to say that Humanim is an organization. When I say youth transition services, I'm talking about students between the ages of 14 and 22 for youth-based learning. What does that mean? That means that we assist with internships as well as virtual work-based learning classes. Our mission is to support and empower individuals who face social or economic challenges by building pathways to economic equality, opportunity, and independence. Youth Transition Services. We're passionate about working with young people. As I said before, we talk with kids and work with students between the ages of 14 and 22. Generally, students, in order to be connected with our program, have to have a documented disability. What does that mean? IEP, 504, or letter from a doctor saying, with a documentation of their disability. This just gives you like an overview of what we do. We do pre-employment transition services, as well as SOS, which is our virtual program. CTE, which is a program we do with Baltimore City in conjunction with Baltimore City Public Schools, as well as Weeble. What is Weeble? Weeble is, just to break it down, internship. We also participate in the Baltimore County Summer Youth Employment Program. And actually we are, as you can see of the information on the right, we are pretty much in every county except for Eastern Shore providing services. This just kind of gives you a brief overview. So you can see we started in FY19 and serviced approximately somewhere around a little less than 600 kids. FY24, which was our, we closed in July, we serviced 1,000 kids. So as you can see, we were busy.
Can't hear you at all.
I'm skipping over a couple of things. Okay.
But you might want to try turning your volume up a little bit. Like, I don't know if you're on your student's device, but
we can't hear you either, hardly.
What now? Yeah. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you fine. Let me see.
It's very low.
Okay.
Miss Love, I think it might be your audio settings. Try seeing if you're able to turn your volume up. Sometimes it's a setting in Teams. I've had that problem before.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can?
Okay. I'm going to ask Ms. Tasha to talk about the two types of programs that actually we're going to be discussing regarding internship and the virtual program. Tasha?
So our work-based learning experience, it's an 8-week internship that introduces the high school age student with a disability into employment. The students will engage in work readiness training and hands-on career exploration in the different fields. Work-based learning is a great way for the students to explore career options, and they can also participate to gain concrete work skills and experience, as well as personal confidence and opportunity to network with potential employers. So during this work-based learning, sometimes students do end up getting hired on if the job has positions opening and the student is looking for permanent employment.
With regard to funding for those, there's two types of funding. There's doors, if you're connected with doors. There's also a grant that came into play 2 years ago, but unfortunately that grant is ending effective March 31st of this year. So there is a deadline if you are not connected with doors, but you are interested in taking part in the work-based learning program. The deadline to submit an application through your transition specialist at your school is February the 5th. Asha?
Right, so we also offer our virtual Start on Success program. That program provides school students with the opportunity to participate in a virtual classroom setting that they'll receive a combination of career and workplace readiness training to develop social and self-advocacy skills. The overall goals of the SOS program is to equip youth with the necessary skills to succeed in the 21st century workforce. The SOS program schedule is it's 8-week session offered fall, spring, summer, and winter. Virtual classes are available based on students' school schedule availability. The class is always 3 days per week, and the class is conducted in a small group setting, and we occasionally have one-on-one available as well. All of our virtual programming is actually provided through multiple grants throughout the state.
And that does not have a deadline. So that program is currently available throughout the year. Students that take part in the virtual program do receive a $200 stipend for taking part. Work-based learning program. That program is if they participate through doors, then they are restricted for no more than 30 hours per week. If they do it through the grant program, they're restricted to 12 hours per week. But in both cases, it's $15 an hour, non-taxed, and we're pleased to say that we now offer direct deposit for students that wish to participate. Questions?
Yes, I have a question. Did you say that the work-based learning experience is due to expire in March? So to sign up before then? Something you mentioned about is no longer going to be available.
Grant, only grant.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, if you're a doors client, no, then doors, if you participate through doors, then you're fine. But if you wanted to participate outside of doors, for whatever reason, if you're not a doors client, or for some reason you don't want to be a doors client and you still want to participate in the program, that's fine. But the deadline to submit now, unfortunately, is February the 5th.
And if you are not a doors client and you want to be a doors client, and I would encourage you to be one and to do that, I would encourage you reach out to your transition facilitator. And I'm going to put my email address in the chat, and you can email me and I can tell you who that person is if you don't know.
You can also reach out to either myself or Ms. Tasha. If you've applied to doors and this happens every day, and your case is quote unquote stuck, or you have questions, we work with doors on a daily basis. We can always reach out and find out who your facilitator is with doors and kind of help speed up that process. As I said, in either way, unfortunately, we are looking for other funding sources to continue the grant if it comes through, which I hope other things will. I would let, of course, Baltimore County know. But for now, unfortunately, the grant itself ends March 31st. Ooh, dry mouth. And that was through the federal government. So they, February the 5th has to be the deadline because we, with background checks and stuff, the students have to be completed by the 31st. And we have quite a few that are already participating from a lot of the schools, especially Parkville. So I encourage you, if you're interested, let your transition specialist know and have them get the paperwork into us. It's not a hard process at all. We just need the referral form and the IEP. That's it.
I would personally love nothing more than you to reach out to me wanting to do doors or Humanim or whatever. So,
We've had quite a few kids get employed, I do have to tell you.
I've had, y'all have done great for several of my kids.
It's a great
I have a
opportunity.
question.
Sure.
I see that this is, according to the visual, it looks like this is the last slide. Is this the last part of your presentation, or do you have another slide presentation for this evening?
We just have the two programs. We have the Weevil program and the virtual program right now.
No, the reason why I'm asking is because what I haven't seen, and maybe with the skipping of slides, maybe I missed it, is can you explain a little bit about the type of positions, job-wise, that
Yes,
the students can participate in? I haven't heard anyone mention, where these jobs are, what companies, or what the occupation actually is, and so that we know what kind of skill set the student needs and whether or not that's part of the training on the job or prior to them applying for these positions.
right, correct.
Right. Actually, Tasha could talk to that a little bit about that. But one of the things that we do, and I'll preface this and let her talk about it some more, is all of our work-based learning internship programs is guided towards the student's strengths. So what we do when a student is interested is we do an intake, we find out what their interest is, and then we tailor their work-based learning program to whatever it is they want to do. It could be stocking, it could be retail, it could be maintenance. Tasha, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so we do have current partnerships with the University of Maryland, all of their hospitals. We have partnerships with Walgreens, CVS, as well as some local small businesses. We also, the coordinator, so say they want to work in a bakery, then the coordinator who would be assigned to that child, will go out and try to find a new partnership that would be able to work with the student's interest. But like I said, we do have, some larger contracts that, if someone just said, I want retail, we have multiple places. But depending on if it's career specific, sometimes the coordinator has to go out and search for that new partnership, depending on what skill they want to learn.
Does that answer your question? I hope.
It does, but it doesn't. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because we actually went through an intake maybe 2 weeks ago now for my son. And I was told, looking for the text message because I can't remember the gentleman's name that was assigned to him. But excuse me?
Herman?
Yes, Herman. Thank you for clarifying that. So Herman was checking with his supervisor because of our proximity. The closest hospital would be St. Joe's, but he then texted back. Excuse me?
Yeah, I'm actually St. Joe's I'm actually the director over there. So
Okay,
yeah,
so
Chandler.
Yes, correct. So he said that St. Joe's was not participating at the moment in terms of maintenance.
They are.
Oh, that's not what he sent back to me. So is that something that just recently changed?
Yeah. So there's an intake process that has to go on with St. Joe's. It's a little more complicated than just like a straight what am I talking about? Like a regular background check. They have to go through health screening and so forth, but the director was away. So I'll be in touch with you because we are St. Joe's is absolutely 100% taking part.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Or how do we
The
go
hot-
about applying?
Speak to your transition specialist at your school. Let them
Okay.
know that you'd like to apply. There's a referral form that the transition specialists have, and all they need to do is complete that, along with send a copy of the IEP to myself and Tasha.
Okay.
Yeah, and just email if you don't know your transition facilitator, then make sure you email me. I'm putting my email address in the chat again. Also, and I can tell you who that is. And I know we're not done yet, but Deborah, if you could send me a copy of this presentation, if it's
Sure.
up to you. And if a parent, if you want a copy, just email me and I will reply with an attachment.
Okay.
Is anybody here Kenwood or online learning program?
Do it. Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm your guy.
I do have a question. So I wanted to know, like, so we've already filled out all the applications, as far as I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are we just waiting for someone to call us back, or
Who's speaking?
I'm Ashley Barnes from Michael Damewood.
You sent
okay.
it in?
Okay, good. I'm glad you asked. Do me a favor, shoot me an email, and I'm gonna check. I'll check with the doors counselor. If you're talking about doors, right?
Yes, because we've already done everything we were supposed to do, as far
Got
as
it.
I knew. Like, I thought that this was kind of like the interview process for him.
No, this is this is a program that within the doors program that he could possibly participate in after we get going with doors. So yeah, do me a favor, shoot me an email, say, hey, what's Michael Damewood, what's the deal, and doors, what's the deal? And then
Okay.
that way I can just forward that to the doors counselor, figure it out.
Okay, because we started the once a week sessions with her on Fridays.
Oh,
the
that's
next
right.
Fridays.
Okay, good. I remember that now. Okay.
But I haven't gotten anything else, so I kind of thought this was that.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you what, send me an email. I'll give you a call tomorrow, okay?
Okay, that sounds great.
All right.
And again, if they're participating through the doors program, that's fine. But this is kind of give everybody a heads up that the grant that we've had for the last 2 years is going away. So if you have not or do not, for whatever reason, want to participate, which we've had this before, or you're going through the doors process and it can be a little lengthy sometimes to go through that process, but you still want your child to participate, you could do it through the grant and then go through doors. You could do both.
So I have a question also very similar to the person that was just speaking. We've been through this process. It's actually been almost a year. And I just, is that normal? Like, we've just been waiting, are we just to sit and wait? Because it's just, we're busy. So I don't know what to expect. I've never really known what to expect. But, when people have offered my son services, we just kind of listen and we get what we can, but we always just keep moving forward.
Has he applied through doors?
Yes.
Okay, what's your son's name?
His name is Michael Morgan.
Oh yeah, actually, India Allen is his doors counselor.
Yes.
Yeah, I spoke to her this morning.
Yeah, we actually just had a meeting about him this morning at his school.
Yep, through his IEP, yeah. So, without telling tales, there's a process that they need to do in order for them to get to us and for us to provide services. So, that was actually resolved this morning with her. So, I actually already sent all his paperwork over to his coordinator, so he should be in touch with you very shortly.
Okay. Yeah,
to
all
get
right,
him
that's
started.
fine. I mean, because we like I said, we just continue to move forward, so I think it all works out. But I've always
Mhm.
just wondered. I just wondered.
Yep.
Thank
As
you so much.
you know what happens sometimes, and unfortunately, um, there's a lot of changes that go on with indoors, and sometimes, especially with their coordinators or counselors, change, and issues can happen. So that
Oh,
was
I
resolved.
understand. I think
That
I understand that very well. I just did not know what to expect. So rather than stay on top of it like I normally would, I would just sit and wait because I work within a government, so I know things sometimes take time as well.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, it was resolved this morning, so you should hear very shortly.
Thanks so much.
If you need me for anything, if that happens again, or anybody has issues and they're not hearing from their counselor, the best way to reach me is through email. And I just put my email in the chat. Tasha, would you put your email in the chat as well? Because again, if you are running into issues or you're not hearing back from your doors counselor, please reach out to either myself or Tasha and we will intervene. I do it every day.
And to piggyback on that, a lot of times the transition facilitators assigned to your school can help with that as well. I've had families reach out to me and say, I'm having trouble with contacting doors, or I don't know who the counselor is, or I haven't heard from them. Sometimes it's a matter of a quick call or email just to figure out what's going on, and then we're good to go.
Exactly. I mean,
And
I want to tell
parents are busy, so sometimes we
Mhm.
can just take that off your plate a little bit.
Yep. And we're here to assist any way we can.
I have another question. How do you all go about finding other companies that to participate? So like you have the contract with CVS, you have the contract with University of Maryland. How do you actually reach other, because you said earlier, you based on the students' interests and their, I guess, their aptitude. If it's not something that's within the services that you all already have with the contracts you have, then you'll actually go out and search for other things. How does that process take place?
Well, personally, I've been doing this for 17 years.
Okay.
Majority of my staff, are very good at networking. Humanim, I don't know if you've looked it up. You can look us up as an organization. It's been around since I want to say 79.
I've been on your website.
I'm sorry?
I've been on your website.
And so we have tons of different resources outside of youth transition itself. We also have adult services. So we're very good at networking and working, in the communities to develop additional partnerships. We also recently, within the last year, had developed also a relationship with Grocery Outlet, which has actually proved to be very, 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 very good partnership. They're actually hiring a lot of our kids. But again, it's part of what we do.
Okay. Now, the companies that you work with, do they have to come on in terms of signing a contract to, be a partnership with you all for a year, 2 years, in terms of continuing, offering support for these students to be placed? I'm asking from a person that knows a couple of companies that I'm just wondering whether or not it would be good to refer them to contact you all.
Sure, they can contact us. Absolutely. Now, do they have to have a contract with us? No.
Okay.
It's just that, statewide, CVS and Walgreens, as well as some of the University of Maryland, which we've actually, that whole hospital system, we've been, as long as I've been here, 17 years, we've partnered with them, and had quite a few students actually get employed and stay employed. So is it necessary for a contract? No, not at all. What we do is we look for organizations that understand what our vision is, understand the reason behind it is what we do, And we don't expect them to come out of the gate and know exactly how to work with our kids. Our coordinators are trained. They all have degrees. Most of my coordinators have master's degrees in working with students with disabilities to help them succeed. So we don't
Thank
just
you.
throw them in with an employer. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
No. We're here to support the students.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If you do at any point have any questions, like I said, please reach out to me. Email's the best way to reach me. Or Miss Tasha. If you can't reach me, she's accessible as well. We're very much looking forward to servicing additional students for Baltimore County, as always. And on another side note, I encourage you to register for the summer youth program, which we do every year with Baltimore County Public Schools. Last year, we serviced 50 kids over the summer. So keep an eye out for that registration process. I can let you know that a lot of the other counties throughout the state have already started with their applications for summer youth. This summer, I have a feeling it's going to be busier than it's ever been before. So keep an eye out for that and make sure that you apply.
We haven't gotten the information on it yet, but your transition facilitator will have that information. I know I send it out as soon as I get it via email. So, but you might want to check in with your transition facilitator. And once again, if you don't know who that is, email me and I can tell you. Also, email me if you want a copy of this presentation.
And again, like I said, we're here to assist. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and we'll help in any way we can.
I do have one last question. I'm sorry. I'm not
Sure.
sorry. I'm saying
No,
it.
please keep asking.
How do we find out? Let me just kind of look at my note real quick. This is for youth transition services for 14 to 22. Is that the only program that this age population qualifies for? Isn't there another program for youth? I'm thinking. I haven't looked at the website in a while, but
there are other vendors under the doors umbrella. I invited Humanim because I've had really good experiences with them last year. But there, doors, everything would have to flow through doors unless your student is probably certificate bound. Then they may qualify for services through Developmental Disabilities Administration.
You said certificate bound?
Yeah, if they're not receiving a high school diploma.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Okay.
I'm sorry, that's how I should have said it. So, yeah.
That's okay.
Yep. These are just the services that we currently provide.
Okay. And how long does it take to transition from once they're 22 to transition into some of your adult services? Is that a whole nother like waiting process?
We do JD services. JD services is job development services where you help find employment, and that goes up to age 24.
Okay.
So once they graduate, or if you're not taking part in an educational program, then I would suggest you reach out to doors and tell them you're interested in vocational rehab services, which is again job development services, job search services. And if there's a lot of vendors besides Humanim that offer those services, but we do that up to age 24.
Okay. Thank you. And that's called vocational
rehab, VR.
Rehab. Okay. Vocational rehab. Okay.
Yep. We do quite a few kids actually with transition after when they graduate high school and they're interested in permanent employment. We do offer that service. We do have actually coordinators that's all they do. They are dedicated to vocational rehab, finding kids employment, permanent employment.
Okay, thank you.
I thank everybody for taking part. I will send the presentation to you, Mike. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out on email and have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And